Hej och välkommen till ett nytt avsnitt av Raimats vinskola. Nu sitter jag här på Raimat tillsammans med chefsvinmakare Mark Nairn som ska förklara lite grann och berätta lite grann om hur man gör vin här på Raimat. Hello Mark.
How are you?
You're a native Australian.
Yes.
How come I find you here in Spain?
I started working at my father's vineyard in Western Australia. Then I got an opportunity to come to Europe and make wine for an English company who were selling into the UK market. And my job was to roam around Europe and South Africa and California, either making or selecting wines. Then I married an English woman, and we wanted to stay in Europe, and this opportunity came up down with the Cordogna group at Raimat, and it was too good to refuse. So we're enjoying living down in Spain and making the Raimat wines.
Yeah, I can imagine. What do you think is the most unique parts of the Raimat vineyards?
I think it's the position. When I first got here, I thought it's possibly going to be a bit too warm for grapes, and it's going to be more like some of the warmer regions of the world. But it's surprisingly cool. The white wines here have got a brightness and freshness that comes from this region. They've got warm days, cool nights. The whites come in very aromatic and bright and fresh with good acids. I think that's probably the most surprising and beneficial point of the Raimat vineyards here.
Okay. I find you a very passionate winemaker, so it makes you wonder sort of how important is passion when you make wine?
Passion's very important. I think there needs to be an attachment to the product. There's a function of making wine, harvesting, crushing, settling, fermenting and things like that. But really where the flair and things comes into the wine is through the passion. And our team here has got a lot of passion for winemaking. The other winemakers have worked around the world in a similar vein that I have. And they care about the product. And our new team in the cellar is the same thing. Without them looking after the wines and the passion that they've got with the wines and moving them and handling them, we would never get the quality in the bottle. So yeah. It's a very important part of what we need. Passion, we need interest, we need ownership and a love of the product to make the best. That extra 5 or 10% is makes a big difference.
Yeah, I can imagine. Spain and to some extent Raimat is also historic ground. So how do you manage to balance innovation with tradition in such a traditional country?
It is quite difficult. You know, there's things through not just winemaking but packaging. It is quite a tricky balance. But it's through explaining what you're trying to achieve to the consumer, and also showing them the new styles that we're coming about. You know, for the red wines, we want a blend of tradition and new world. We want that spice and that richness and texture that comes from the traditional winemaking styles. We also want the brighter fruit and the softer tannins and the generosity that comes from more of the New World style of winemaking. So that blend is very important for us.
Yeah. One big issue now worldwide and very much so in Sweden is environmental issues and sustainability. So what do you do at Raimat for sustainability?
Well, sustainability is very important. You know, traditionally there was lots of chemical used in vineyards, lots of chemicals and products used in winemaking. And what we're trying to do initially in the vineyard, but also working with the wines, is really target what we're doing. Really look at ways that we don't need to use chemicals, ways that we can be much more environmentally friendly. And once you're much more environmentally friendly, the natural wildlife starts looking after your vine as well. The vine becomes more into balance because it's working with the soils, it's working with the climate. There's the local fauna and flora that look after and protect the vines from diseases and things.
Another big thing in Sweden is alternative packaging. Bag-in-box is over 50% of the volume, and we also are increasing on screw cap in Sweden. What is your view on the new packaging trends? You have at Raimat, you've always been quite early with these, both screw cap and bag-in-box lines.
I think they're fantastic. Bag-in-box, I think it's a great way to deliver wine. It's come a long way over the last few years, and the actual packaging, the bag that the wine goes in, the conservation of the product. The winemakers have learned how to deliver the wine into the bag. I think it's a very good product. It's easy to use. It's user friendly that way, and the wine quality is good. The screw cap is a wonderful invention. It takes away the anomaly of corked wines. Obviously it's not a perfect closure, there's still problems, but normally then there's something very bad with the wine, you just take it back and you get a new one. We don't mind that at all, but the screw cap keeps the freshness and brightness of the white wines, especially for a long time.
Well, finally, what are your thoughts on the future of Raimat? What can we expect from you?
I think in the future what we're looking at doing is developing the styles further. The white wines are definitely heading in the direction we want to go, as is in the rosés. But each year we try something new to try and increase the complexity and interest of the wine, but keep that basic freshness and brightness. The reds, I think, will see a much steeper development of the styles, more fruit and generosity and softer, brighter tannins. We're also looking at doing small parcel lots from selected vineyards, which we've got full barrel fermentation for Chardonnays. We're doing full barrel fermentations for red wines as well. Yeah. There's lots of different things that are in the fire from vintage to vintage, and this vintage is no different. And hopefully in the next 2 or 3 years we'll start seeing some really smart whites and reds coming from Raimat, as well as developing and improving our normal range.
Really, really exciting.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mark, for taking your time.
Pleasure. Nice.
Good seeing you.
Good, you too.